People join running crews hoping to date.
Came out and it's like, I told you there's a peacock. Yeah, we made it yesterday. Yeah, thank you very much. You're like, yo, I've got another marathon to do after this.
Welcome to the next podcast where the mic is always open and the conversations never stop. Today's episode is about running.
Zoom, zoom.
Okay, hi, my name is Beeoh Kim. I started as a runner. I became a triathlete. I moved back to Korea because of a passion for triathlon, and I got recruited for a pro triathlon team. And then I retired 2019 and just kind of did whatever I wanted to do. And then now for last year or two, I've been just running a lot.
Hi, my name is Luke, and I'm from Canada, but I currently live on Jeju Island. So Honjapsae, if you want to come to Jeju, I'll be there. Let's go run together. Lately in Korea, I started a running group called Rock Run. So we go enjoy the forest. It's just all about being in the forest and just having fun, leaving your stress behind and just getting in the forest and running, feeling like a kid and going, ow. So yeah, let's go running together, guys, after and have a great show. Cheers.
Nice. Cheers. Great.
Cheers.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Zay. I'm from the US. I've been in Korea about 7 or 8 years now. I started consecutive day run streak back in March 2021. Today will be 1,479, I think. I try to run at least 10K or more. Yeah, I like to move. I like to inspire movement and just like to stay active. So yeah.
Wow, it's pretty nice. For the 1,000 days running.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something. Okay, pretty nice. Hi, my name is Sergio, or you can call me Fafi. That's how people call me in social media. I'm from Colombia. I don't live in Korea. I arrived just last week, still with a little bit of jet lag. I started running like 1.5 years ago due to weight reasons. I wanted to lose weight. And I started and actually just started loving running, improving my times, becoming better and that stuff. And I just enjoy to discover my city, but by running. So yeah, and I also like to run all over the world and all over my country. And yeah, that's what I do.
Fafi did a sub-3 yesterday for the Seoul Marathon.
Woo! Yeah, we made it yesterday. Yeah, thank you very much.
Before we get to know everybody, we give a little shout out to Running Order, one of our sponsors for the show. Running Order is a performance-driven clubwear brand offering versatile, technical apparel suitable for the dance floor or the racetrack. It's inspired by club culture and designed for endurance. It's perfect for sports and everyday challenges. It's unisex, sustainable, along with premium quality clothing, and is made in the US. So thank you, Running Order, for sponsoring this video. Let's move.
Okay, so how did you start running? I was like not very fat, but I was fat, and I wasn't comfortable with myself, watching myself in my mirror. Also, when I was a child, I was like this very good football player, and football like real football, not US football.
I felt that.
Because I don't want to call it soccer because now it's football. Then I came to university. I met nightlife and people and other stuff, and I just quit sport of my life, and that made an effect on me, and I wasn't comfortable with myself. And I told myself, like, this is enough. I don't like how I watch myself in the mirror. There must be a change. And the very first with weightlifting, but it wasn't like that cool. I just made it for myself, and I was like, okay, I accomplished something new, but making me feel better with myself. But at the end, I just met some friends who were running, and they told me like, hey, why don't you run? First, I thought it was very boring because as I was used to play football, for me, running without a ball didn't make any sense. I was able to run for more than 1 kilometer, or I ran 4 kilometers my first time. But like it's pretty nice watching the times I made every kilometer, and I just started to run, and getting also enrolled in some races, 5K races, 10K races. It was pretty cool, trying to make new times, and yeah, just winning 2 things, getting better and also losing weight. So that's why I started to run.
Cool. So again, my name is Zay. I started running. I remember I was a little bit awkward as far as like athleticism goes when I was younger. Sports has always been like a huge thing in my family. I've got a couple of family members that are like professional athletes. So my grandpa was a huge coach in our town, and he's like, you got to get faster and you got to learn how to use your body. you got to get some rhythm to you. So he got me into track. And I did hurdles, 110s, 400s. But yeah, so that kind of started it. And then just playing other sports, I kind of kept with it. When I moved to Korea around 2020, when the whole Black Lives Matter movement happened, I remember hearing about this man, Ahmaud Arbery, who was shot when he was just running through his neighborhood. And I was just, it really hit home for me. And I was like, man, that could have been me, because I used to run through my neighborhood and just randomly happened. So I decided to do like this benefit run. And then COVID happened. While I was in quarantine, I was like, you know what? I need to challenge myself. I need to be active. I want to do this, And so I was like, all right, I'll do a 5K challenge for the month of March in 2021. And by the time I finished, I remember sitting by the track and just kind of taking it all in. And I was like, I'm done. But then I was like, I don't feel like I'm finished, though. Like, I know there's so much more that I could do. And I feel like I can do more. Let's see how far we can go.
You're never done with running.
Exactly. Eventually, I was like, you know what? That's what I've got to do. I've got to do it. Along this whole running journey, I've been on, like I said, run Seoul to Busan, do the Busan to Sokcho, and a couple other like big runs that have been like monumental for my growth, like you said, physically, but I think also mentally, kind of building that mental fortitude of kind of who you are and what you're doing. And nowadays, I'm just kind of moving and trying to inspire movement.
So I started running in 2001. Well, I moved to US and I moved to a town called Vacaville. Vaca means, cow, and Ville means town, so it's like a cow town, USA. Yeah, in California.
You're a cowboy.
There were a lot of cows, but so towns like that. I wouldn't say only Asian, but there weren't many, Asians around, and I tried to fit in. I realized I need to do something good in whatever other people are doing. So I started trying out for like basketball, and I got cut. And then I tried out for soccer, football.
Yeah, please.
Hey, say it one more time. Say soccer one more time.
After that, I tried out for varsity, and then I got cut. And then when I was practicing or training for soccer, I realized these crazy kids running around track, round and round. You're probably one of them. Yeah. It seems like it kind of made a big impression in my head. And also, I ran. My dad was a marathoner. I used to run with him when I was little and stuff. So everything kind of clicked, and I was like, maybe I should start running. So I tried to join like a track and cross-country team. And when I first started it, I was like the slowest runner. I was slower than the girls, and just,
But nobody gets cut from track.
You just have to hang on, right? Yeah, you just got to show up every day.
Perfect sport.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So I just kept showing up. And I realized that on our team, those two best guys, maybe if I chase them long enough, I might be good at it. So I was just chasing them, day after day, and I just kind of kept at it. And those two kids were just like, this guy just keeps showing up.
We got a shadow back here.
Yeah, I just kept going at it. And then I wouldn't say good, okay. And then on that summer, before senior year in high school, I just thought maybe I should try to be good at this. And I started running, and I realized I could just keep up with them. And I went to first, race, and then I was like the third guy. And I was just like, oh, I think I'm actually good at something, I just kept going at it. I went to college, I started keep running, and I started swimming, and it evolved into triathlon. So it's just kind of crazy journey that wouldn't happen if I didn't start or didn't follow those guys or give up. So that was
I have
start.
to ask,
Yeah.
Was it the cows that gave you the inspiration to move?
Move. Well, my name is Luke, and like I said before, I was born in the early 80s, so, we didn't grow up with the internet. We went out. There was no street lights in my hometown. I'm from the woods. So it was just fun, just going out and just running. That's what it was. We just ran through the forest. We'd take off our shoes. No, just barefoot running before barefoot was cool, I guess. Now barefoot running is cool. But we just ran, and I did some track. I didn't really like road running, and track to me was a little bit too structured. I just preferred going out in the woods and just running and just, hooting and hollering, woo, having a good time. When I moved to Jeju after, that's when I fell back in love with running. I just remember just running through the forest and just feeling that feeling when you were a kid, you know, just a joy. There's nothing, you're just running. You're just a small 5K, it doesn't matter. You know, you're just in the forest. And when you meet other people in the forest, you realize how important the forest is. Just the connection, the feeling. And again, just being silly in the forest, running and just, you know, saying hi to everybody, practicing stuff and just, again, just woo. Sometimes when I go running with some Korean people, sometimes they see me, they're like, whoa, Luke's having so much fun, you know, like, oh, I want to go with the rock run guys. So we go together and I'm just like, woo. And then sometimes some people are like, woo. Woo, woo. And then finally, by the end of the run, they're like hooting, hollering, and having fun. So again, it's all about going for a run for the feeling and having a good feeling and leaving all the, you know, the bad stuff behind and stuff. So that's it. That's why I run.
So I actually met Luke a while ago, probably about 2 years ago now. And I came across your videos through my buddy Oliver, who he's been a huge inspiration for me as far as running goes. And I was messaging him because I was getting ready to do the Trans Jeju 50K. So it's like the progressive, like pushing past, okay, marathon, now let's go to this. And I was like, yo, I'm going to do this 50K. And he's like, but what if I need to go to the bathroom? Oh, yeah. And so Ollie showed me this video of you like, well, here's where all the bathrooms are at. Here's the bathrooms. Oh, yeah. That was like the biggest worry on my mind. I was like, what if I got to like, you know, stop in on an office trip real quick, you know? Yeah. And he's like, nah, just watch this guy. He's good. And then I remember seeing you when we were running. I was like, and honestly, like your energy there, especially from the 50K and even the 100K, seeing you is just always so good because it's like, again, you bring that energy whether you're running or not and just like, it transfers there for us a lot, so mad respect.
I'm glad I can help you with energy and also with your bathroom scarcity. I'm glad
it's all about the
very important subject, actually, definitely, bathrooms in races.
Well, I mean, my favorite so far, I have to say, it's again, I live on Jeju, you know, Segwipo specifically. I love the Segwipo Chuiyu Supgil, but the healing forest. It's just a great route. You know, you get all types of trees. You got the bamboo, the cedars, the feeling, the rocks, the Jeju rocks. So that would be my favorite route. You could just do a circle, do a 5K, 300 meters elevation gain, then hoot and holler and go back. So that's why it's my favorite route. What about you?
Well, I lived in San Francisco Bay Area for a little bit. In Palo Alto, San Mateo area, there's mountains and mountains. And I remember my coach in college would just show me the map and just say, you're here, and I'll be over there in my car. And you could just, you turn left, and right, left, and I have to memorize. And then I'll get lost. Oh, yeah. And it become, you know, like a hour run becomes like a 3-hour run, and I'll just get lost. So I would say like a favorite route. It's not like a route, but just that area of just getting lost and, you know, in the mountains. It's just kind of in the woods, you know, you're shirtless and you're just kind of, you're alone in the wild, I guess.
Respect. So when I first started running, I was just on a track. So my first long runs, like my first half marathon, my first marathon, were all on a track. I used to live in Daegu. Yeah.
Full marathon?
Yeah.
What?
So I did my first, like my own personal one because kind of knowing the course versus having to worry about other variables. There's a bathroom there. And so I was like, all right, again, bathroom's important. So when I moved to Seoul, my first run was just along the Han. I didn't know where to go. I just kind of halfway made a map of a 10K route. I saw the craziest thing that gave me a sign that I was like, yo, I'm doing something right. As I'm running along the Han River, I saw a peacock.
What?
I saw a peacock on the Han River, and I was like, yo, this is a sign that I'm doing good things. And so I saw that, and for the whole time, I'm like running around, and I'm telling people, yo, I saw a peacock, and they're like, bro, how far did you run? Did you drink water? Yeah. And I was like, no, there's a peacock there. It goes like almost a year. I've never seen the peacock again, right? And then randomly, I'm running with my buddy Felix, and we're doing a half marathon. He hasn't done one in a while, but I've got like a little route that I do. And that's also why I love the Han River, because I can do so many different, it's a very versatile thing where I can run a 50K to an 11K. It's just boom, boom. And you got the convenience of pyeongjams and
bathrooms.
And bathrooms, yeah, bathrooms. But yeah, so we're like running, and I kid you not, he's like, because he hasn't done this in a while, so he's just kind of, we're at that point where you're not talking anymore, you know, you're just like kind of right next to each other, and he just goes, and I was like, what? And he's like, and the peacock came out, and it's like, I told you there's a peacock. And then, and so, yeah, so it was funny. And I've only seen it like 2 or 3 times, but That's my favorite story for the whole thing.
I love to in Bogota, Colombia's capital city. I like to try new things, new courses, and I think that's why I love like getting to know my city in a different way. Actually, Bogota is a city with a lot of social differences, and a lot of people don't know the city. Me as well. I don't know a lot of places I've never been because it's not safe or whatever, and I just try to break those myths and just to get to know my city and watch how beautiful it is. Even when people say, "Oh no, don't go over there. You're not going to find anything beautiful or anything cool," and I just defer with that. And every time I just run in my city in new places, new neighborhoods, I just fell more in love with where I live and where I was born. So I'd say anywhere in Bogota, I just love it.
All right, so we're all going to take a trip to Bogota?
Yeah,
Let's
sure,
go.
why not? If you like, as you're crazy people. Also, as I told you, Bogota is 2,600 meters above sea level. So you're not going to get that much oxygen. We are very used to it, but that's why when we train there, as I train every day there, when I come here, it's just like, poof, I just feel like flying.
I mean, if I'm trying to get a sub 3, I think I might need to.
Train there.
Yeah,
Pagoda.
you will definitely get it. Yeah.
Say less, let's make it happen.
Yeah. Okay, so unpopular opinions. So we are going to use this OX panel to give our opinion. Play devil's advocate, try to convince each other to choose the same side. And if we all pick the same side, we should discuss and explain why you didn't pick the other side, okay? So running shoes are overrated. So 1, 2, 3.
I feel like this is a two-part question because it could be saying, like, do you need shoes to run in?
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I enjoy running on the beach without shoes. I'm not going to do the whole wild man running in the forest with no shoes. But I think some running shoes are overrated. They're overhyped, overpriced for sure. But I think that in general, you have to pick a shoe that's good for you, and you only do that by feeling out different shoes. And if you just go with, these like super nice shoes that give you like the best time, I think that takes away from running itself.
All those years, there's like trends for running. It used to be like a minimum, and then it's like a maximal, and then all the carbon shoes. You always try to find like the right answer, and in the end, the right answer is like whatever fits for you.
People think that maybe shoes are going to be the answer to become faster, and at the end, it's not the answer. It's just going to be something to help you. It's in your mind and discipline, training. You just can't run a sub 3 hours marathon. You can have the best shoes, but if you don't train well, if you don't have discipline, you're never going to make it.
I hope y'all are taking notes on that. This guy's got it.
I guess for me, it depends. Like, are you an avid runner or are you a starter? Like, for me, I've been running for many years, so I have like about 20 some pairs of shoes. Maybe it's a lot. But again, it depends. I got some soft ground shoes that are good for muddy days. If I'm doing a fast 10K race, it's very muddy, I'm going to use something with more grips. If I ran a lot and I want to do a run with some more cushions, a door-to-trail shoe. But I would recommend most people to have, if you're just running one kind of, let's just say trail, because I'm more of a trail runner, I always recommend people to get at least 2 shoes. Because then you can have, your everyday shoe that's more comfortable. You need something to let your feet rest sometimes. And then maybe get something that's a little bit more lighter if you do want to do competition. But again, and if later you want to do something in more mud, then a 3rd pair. But I always recommend 2 to 3 pairs. But if you're a road runner too, then I would recommend, 3 to 5 shoes. So that depends.
If you're trying to
Maybe
fly.
20, 50
20.
shoes, why not?
But you can never have too many shoes. I'm sorry, but I'm a shoe guy.
Yeah.
I am a shoe guy.
All right, running indoors is harder than running outdoors. I think treadmills have their purpose if you're training specifically for a specific time and keeping a steady pace, that kind of deal. But you don't really get a feel of the road or the lay of the land, especially like for you if you like running out in the city and stuff, and you get the different terrain and just the interaction with people, and just there's a cool feeling like super early in the morning or like when it's snowing or if it's raining and you're the only person out there. And you see other people that are just walking with all their gear on, they see you, and that exchange, that's cool, and it's like, and just being outside and kind of, like you said, getting a little kind of feel out there, and it's just, it's a completely unique experience, I think. And I think indoor running again has its purpose, but outdoor I think is by far the best.
I would also add, like, for me, running is freedom sensation. So running indoor, I don't get that freedom sensation. It's just like I'm just running like without a ball, as I told you, with football and running. But for me, it's like having the sensation of just no football, of just running and feeling the wind. I cannot do that indoor. It's very hard. I admire people who usually just train indoors, like because they really want to become better and train for it. But as I'm not a pro or elite athlete, and in Bogota we don't have those extreme conditions, I always want to do it outside.
For me, just to answer the question real quick, I think it's harder just because it's boring. Personally, maybe you'll hate me for this, but I'm not a big road runner either for the similar things. It's just, to me, it's just running indoors like that. People are like, but the weather's bad outside. I'm like, bro, that's why we buy expensive gears. That's why I have a plethora of stuff. Let's go enjoy
Shoes.
and go outside. That's why running indoors to me is boring.
People join running crews hoping to meet someone. Whoa, really? Oh.
Personally, I've never joined a running club for that because I've generally always been in a relationship. And the relationships I've been in, they weren't runners.
Appreciate it. I'm single over here.
But yeah, but now, some of my friends, the social scene for running is much bigger now. But even before, when I used to live in Seoul, they're like, oh, you got to join this club because, you get to be active. It's a nice way to meet people in a more comfortable setting. So I think that's better meeting people for like that if everybody's into the same thing instead of meeting people online. So I do agree if people want to go there and meet, and if they're in, agreeance to meet that way, I think, yeah, I could see that's kind of a cool way to meet people.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if here you have the same joke, but running clubs are the new Tinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Colombia and maybe that part of the world, that's what every people say. I know that's not everyone. I didn't do it, to be honest. But I've seen a lot of people, a lot of cases that they started to go to a running club because they want to meet new people as well. You're being unified with something, this case running and sports, which is healthy. And yeah, it works and they have parties and a lot of stuff. And even if you don't want to date, you're going to meet new people. But yeah, that definitely happens. Not every time, but it happens.
Yeah.
I actually host run events. I have this thing called The Movement. I specifically say it's not a run club. A specific one I do is like Valentine's Day. I do a Cupid run or a Cupid shuffle, making connections with people. But it's not just about trying to date people. It's more talking about something specific. So this past one was Cupid Remix, and everybody ran together with a partner, and every kilometer you switched. And then afterwards,
sounds like speed dating.
Well, it's just kind of to connect with people. But then afterwards, the topic was about self-love. And so I asked everybody, what does self-love to me? What does self-love mean to you? Running groups, clubs, events are great for allowing people to connect with others in ways that they wouldn't normally do. And I think especially it allows you to mix a little bit. And I think that's why running groups are a little bit more popular. It kind of breaks down artificial barriers between groups. A lot of relationships are made through running. And I think it's kind of just that adversity. You're bonding over the adversity of doing a run, stuff like that.
Some of my friends sent me a link last time. It was a video. I don't know if it's Korean SNL or something. I forget who, but it was like that. I don't know if you guys seen it. But basically, it's like, the running clubs, and there's this beautiful girl there, and all the guys are buying her a gift. Like, here's a new watch. Here's a new
she's like stretching,
she's like, oh, bud, come on, new shoes. And, oh, yeah. And then another guy, then this other beautiful girl comes, and the other guys are like, oh. And it's like, oh, what about me? So it's funny how there's, that thing of, so.
Well, like I met my wife through cycling. Okay. She was a cyclist, and she had her own group, and I had my own group. Shout out.
Which is here.
I love you. Yeah.
Shout out to the homie.
So I think after the run or when you're running, you're kind of more talkative, more open to stuff. So I think it's a good way to meet people, and I guess it's healthier than just kind of drinking all the time in the bar. I think it's a good culture, and I feel it's amazing how running used to be when I started running was for like outsiders. It's like you run, like you like to like hurt yourself or something. You like pain.
You like that stuff? Yeah, that's weird.
Crazy people.
Yeah, but now it's just kind of like, well, you run. That's pretty cool. Kind of, it's like a cool hobby. And so I think that's run crew culture is kind of good in a way.
Do you agree or disagree with running is a male-dominated sport?
Interesting.
So one, 2, 3. I mean, I don't think it's male dominated. Like if you're into stats and sports and you think, like if we put everybody on the same keel, I don't mean to sound bad or nothing, but generally males are just, if it's the fast track it's just generally if you put everybody on the same thing, there'll be more winners that are males. It's just, there are a lot of fast women out there, a lot of fast women. But if just for conversation pace, that's all I'm saying. Don't hate me, I'm just saying.
There's been a recent huge push for kind of the female runners, which I'm really about. That's for me, running is it's a sense of empowerment and kind of mental fortitude and kind of building up and kind of learning who you are. And so whether it's male or female, I think that it's huge to kind of promote that. And so, as far as sports goes, the society of males are really good at sports. And so it's I feel like that's already there. Males don't really need that push as much, but having these women dominant things where only women can run this 10K or 50K, it's a really good push to kind of self-growth as far as with men and women also, yeah.
It just kind of reminds me of, I saw some stories back in, I can't remember, in Boston Marathon.
Oh, yeah.
They banned women.
And the girl had to disguise herself and they tried to stop her.
Yeah, but all the guys are protecting her and stuff. I guess it used to be really male dominant sports, but it feels like it's an expression, for women to have, show their power or show their strength through running. I have 2 daughters, so we're gonna run a marathon. Oh, well, not marathon, but a 5K in 2 weeks.
Let's
Whoa!
go.
The first marathon. They've been training. No, but a 5K, just to give them the option of that hobby of just kind of
knowing the impossible.
Yeah. Just kind of run or walk. So it's a good way to express themselves. So I wouldn't say running is just simply a sports. It's an expression of who you are or what your strength is.
Okay, so we're going to rank from easiest to hardest.
Okay.
Ultramarathon, triathlon, standard marathon, and trail marathon.
I'll do a count off and we'll say which one do you think is the easiest. 3, 2, 1.
Standard marathon.
I would say ultramarathon.
That's the easiest?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. For example, for me, the hardest race is 5K race. Bringing yourself to the biggest limit, heart rate, you're about to explode, to vomit, I say. Because the distance, of course, is very hard, but you could talk, you can stop, you can live it in a different way. But the shorter the distance, for example, yesterday I did a personal record, so I pushed myself through a new limit, and I was able to record it. But I cannot do it within a 5K. It's just impossible for me. I could vomit. I just cannot speak. Wow. All of them are very hard. I see. But for me, ultramarathon, that's why.
So I think a standard marathon, just obviously in comparison to an ultra marathon, because a standard marathon, it's more the distance. And so it's for both of them, technically you could walk, jog through both of those. But just distance wise. And then the actual idea of completing it, that's in my mind as well. Because a standard marathon, 4 or 5 hours, boom. Ultra marathon, if you walk and jog that, there's cutoffs, and then also nighttime running and that type of stuff. That really it changes the whole thing, and whether you're getting cold out there, just overall exposure to the elements. That's why I think out of all those, the standard marathon would be the easiest.
In college, I did the track thing, but I also did it on the trail in San Diego, and it was 100 miles on the trail. Ultra marathon for 100 miles, 160 kilometers. You get such a deep, dark places time to time.
Up and down.
And you just in marathons, like full marathon, you get, highs and lows.
Yeah.
And you can get through it. But ultra marathon, you get into this canyon of darkness. And then you're just I'm done.
You're I've got another marathon to do after this.
Actually, we really love pain because usually when people say those stuff, I would say I'm scared, I will never do it. Just when you say about those things,
why not?
Why not? Why not in the future? I want to live this.
I would just say the first one, easiest, standard marathon. The second easiest one would be trail marathon. After would be ultra marathon, and then the hardest would be triathlon.
Wow, I'm dyslexic
triathlon with the cycling.
I thought that said trial marathon.
Oh no, triathlon. Triathlon is much because you got cycling, you got swimming, you can get kicked in the face while you're swimming. The distances. So that's just me. That's my list.
Like Ironman triathlon, you become really efficient, and you're just looking at your power and your heart rate, and you just keep going at it for a really long time. So it's just like it's a different experience, but I guess still like the full marathon in Ironman triathlon is hard.
So I agree, like standard marathon, trail marathon, ultra, and then triathlon.
Huh.
Because of the switching of gears.
Yes.
Not so much the distance and stuff, but
Get on
having
the
to go
bike
from
and
water to bike and then
it's a whole
So,
other
yeah.
can of worms.
and you just got to boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah.
For me, it's ultra is like the hardest.
That's the hardest.
But it depends on the distance too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like a 50K,
Yeah.
I mean,
50K is
yeah.
okay.
50K is
100
normal.
Light work,
Yeah.
Kind of
Spoiler-
sweet.
spoiler
So
alert.
spoiler, check it out. It'll be on the movement. If we're looking at our foot, do you want to point out where it's at?
I'm exhausted. And he's like, yeah, we can do it. Come on. And you're like,
Dad, we want to sleep. No, stop. The hardest run I've ever done. I was going off of memory.
No snacks?
Five
Where's the
questions
snacks?
here. I guess I'll go first.